It's a long story, but I'm going to try and not take too long. First of all, I want to tell you that coming here and being blessed by each of you was one of my first steps on my pilgrimage. It was part of the preparation, and I'm very grateful for it. Another part of the preparation, I don't know if you've heard of The Way of the Traveler by Joseph Dispenza. It's a wonderful book if you enjoy traveling and you travel with intention. And I read that, and one of the things I did after I left this blessing to get ready for this trip was I made a fear box. And you write out all of your fears that you might have, all your anxieties and doubts, on a piece of paper, and you put it in a box, and you seal it up. Put it in a safe place, and you leave it behind. I thought that was very clever. The other thing that he suggests is that you take your finest paper and your finest pen, and you write down what you need to take with you. So I took my Crane stationery and my painting pen, and I wrote down trust, an open heart, understanding. I don't know if I can do this with my left hand. Joy, love, an open mind, very important. Patience. And laughter. And I packed these in my pack. And every once in a while during my trip, in an effort to lighten my pack, I go through my pack and I find it, but I wouldn't send these home. I kept them because they were important. The other thing that I did, I went with a very, very dear friend, my sweetie, Roberto. Before we set off on our journey, our packs were packed, and we sat by them with our hands on our packs. And it was a very short prayer, meditation, quiet, calming time. Each had our own moment. And we did this every morning before we left, before we set off on our day. And that was part of our spiritual preparation. The other thing I did was I made a list. I had a little tiny journal I took with me. And on one of the end pages, so I could get to it easily, I wrote down everybody I wanted to pray for. And I want you to know that I wrote down the Wednesday evening community. So every morning as I walked, early in the morning, I thought of you, and you traveled with me. This was a journey from, it was a pilgrimage, part of the medieval pilgrimage route to Santiago de Compostela in Spain. And the regular route that most people have heard about is what they call the Camino francés. And it's the Camino de Santiago that goes across northern Spain and ends in Santiago de Compostela. I've done that many times, but this particular route was the Via de la Plata, which goes from Sevilla north to Santiago, and it was about 1,000 kilometers, which is, what? 600 miles, okay. This was a very physical journey. I had taken my painting supplies with me. A week into it, I sent home as much as I could. And with that went my paints and my paper. I didn't have time to paint. I walked all day long. And I think the biggest thing for me was trust. I had to trust there was going to be a bed for me. We stayed in which are hostels, bunk beds. You sleep with 20, 30 people. Everybody's snoring. Males, females, it doesn't matter what. I had to trust that there was a bed because Roberto and I walked very slowly. We took our time. We took pictures of our muddy feet. We lay down in fields of wildflowers, took off our shoes, took off our socks, ate sandwiches, told stories, we laughed, and we were always the last people in. So we had to trust that there was a bed for us at night. We also had to trust that that bed was a bottom bunk because I could not climb up to the top. We had to trust that there was enough water. I ended up carrying 3 liters of water with me. We would travel for 7 hours and there would be no water. There would be no town. There would be nothing. And there were times when it was the 100-degree heat that we were walking in. We also had to trust that there was enough food. Roberto and I ate very well the whole trip. We didn't lose any weight. And we had to trust that we would make it there. We had to ford rivers, and it was a very bizarre spring in southern Spain. Lots of rain, unheard of rain, and we would be walking and come across rivers, and if we couldn't walk through it, it would mean that we wouldn't walk kilometers or miles out of the way. So we took off our boots and shoes and socks many times and walked through the rivers. I climbed train tracks. I climbed these hills up to the track and had to go across the track in order to avoid the river and get down again. And that was rather scary because just before we did that, there was a train that whizzed by, and let me tell you, there was no room for a mistake on that one. We braved bulls in open fields, very bullish looking bulls. We braved traffic on the roads, people talking on their cell phones, big truckers, that was awful. But we made it. We managed to do about 480 miles, 768 kilometers. We knew from the beginning that we wouldn't make it all the way because we didn't have enough time. We both had to get back. We ended up walking almost 7 weeks. And that even included taking some time off. I had tendinitis and couldn't walk, so I was told that it would be better if I took some time off, which I did. I'd like to read to you, I wrote emails home, and this will just give you a little taste. Tonight we sleep in a palace. We slept in one of the paradores, one of the Spanish run hotels, often in historic buildings. Tonight we sleep in a palace. Last night we slept in a small room with a couple from Slovenia. Everyone snoring quite nicely when I got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I slept several nights running next to Angelo from Italy, and Italian was my first language in the morning after saying good morning, Roberto, in the bunk on the other side. We have slept in a converted water tower. It was quite damp. A residence for psychiatric patients, a castle, a convent, simple houses converted to B&Bs. We cooked dinner one night with 2 French sisters traveling the Via de la Plata, been helped across rivers by Dutch and German pilgrims, competed for beds at night with a large walking group from Tarragona and Catalunya, and lost as we were always the last. We have eaten baby pig, 21 days old.